they would be forced to underground utilities, improve sidewalks. So it's not a gift from just one source. It's a gift when that property gets developed, and you should hope that we would wait and develop it in a more responsible manner. Thank you.
Understanding the city's finances is a very important issue for a council member here in Sebastopol or anywhere. Just to understand where our city finances fall, $1.1 million of our budget comes from sales tax in Sebastopol. That's 23% of our budget. $2.3 million of our city's budget comes from property taxes. That's double our sales tax. In order to increase local business without a sales tax increase to make up that $1 million, it means we have to double our retail space. It means we have to double our traffic. It means we have to double our roads. All things we know that aren't possible in Sebastopol. If we don't pass the tax increase, we'll have to look at really tough decisions. How do we cut more staff? The first thing to go when you have to cut staff in a city like ours are public works employees. What happens when you lose public works employees? You have to shut down parks. You have to stop maintaining our city buildings. You have to stop having community centers. These are all very real concerns for our town. The Barlow Project brings us a unique opportunity. The Barlow Project has one tenant that takes up the majority of space right now, and that's Costa Brown. Costa Brown is planning to write $5 million in mail order sales. That means that they ship wine from Sebastopol and charge sales tax with a couple of UPS trucks per day. Those are the types of businesses we need to continue to develop. What I know is how to maneuver these types of issues. I have the experience running large business. I have the experience dealing with budget cuts and falling revenues. And I know how to maneuver those situations as an experienced business professional and nonprofit leader in our town. Thank you.
We have a number of questions here that address freedoms of what's... I'm sorry, did I cut you off? We started with... You get them, like Kathy?
No, it's done.
Yes. I'm not cutting anybody off without a chance to talk here, am I? I'm losing my place a little bit. That's what I thought. Okay. As I was saying, certain questions around freedoms here, and specifically some of the freedoms that have come up for consideration one way or the other in Sebastopol in the past, and would ask each of you to say where you stand regarding a Wi-Fi free zone, a smart meter free zone, or a freedom from leaf blowers.
That's not a bad idea. I have concerns about things that impact our health, and having the freedom to have something that can be harming you because you haven't been given the full range of information about this, because the industry has been manipulating how accessible that is and manipulating the scientists doing the studies. So Sebastopol should be a haven for people who practice the precautionary approach. There are people who are very sensitive, and so having that would actually be a great idea for a developer that wants to create super green housing that limited every risk possible, and particularly charging us extra money. PG&E has the audacity to do that, to keep smart meters off of our residents. That's hard. And I live in a condominium, so what my neighbor does is going to impact me. So I think that we need a moratorium. And we also ought to take a look at the fact that Sebastopol is really lucky to be in the, having the opportunity to create community choice aggregate, like a municipal power, to partner with others in the area to have deeper shades of green energy production that hopefully we could be designing and producing here within our city limits, really expanding what we're doing with solar in Sonoma County, providing safer energy generation for Birdcrest Mobile Home Park, for example, and definitely, hopefully, having control over smart meters. I know what we went through with Wi-Fi and Sonic, and now that Comcast is just doing that. I'm sorry, I missed that debate. I just saw the headlines. I'm concerned. I use a landline. and let other towns do it. At least let Sebastopol be a place, those of us who want to really protect our health, to have a safe haven.
In terms of Wi-Fi free zones, I wouldn't have a problem establishing something. On this subject, the people here that are part of the EMF safety network, I support their right to try to change the laws, to go their way, but right now, I'm not accepting of the fact that it is injurious to my health. But I still encourage these people, keep working, keep at it. This is how we got seatbelts. This is how we got smoking, the dangers of smoking. If you have an issue, if you have a cause and you believe in it, I'm not sure the science is quite there with them yet, but keep at it. And maybe, you know, one of these days it will turn and people will realize the dangers. But right now, I think the majority of the people, they want their Wi-Fi, they want their cell phones, and I know Comcast is coming now and creating hotspots, and sometimes I have wondered, when Sonic presented the opportunity to put Wi-Fi in the city-wide, I wonder if that might not have been better, because when that was turned down, now everybody's got a Wi-Fi. I turn on my computer and I see all of these different users, and maybe that would have controlled some of it. I don't know, but I've often wondered about that. In terms of smart meter, private property rights, it's your house, your home. If you don't want it there, you shouldn't have to have it, nor should you have to pay not to have it. Leaf blowers. I oppose the leaf blower ban for several reasons. I think the majority of the people in Sebastopol have spoken. They want their leaf blowers. I, for one, have a property that's surrounded by 7 oak trees. I have leaves in my sink. I have leaves everywhere. It's a nightmare, but these are beautiful heritage oak trees and they're not about to go away. But we do need the tools, and especially for our senior citizens. I think sometimes they're on fixed incomes. They might not be able to afford a landscaper. They have to take care of their property themselves and keep their roofs clean. I've talked to senior citizens about this, and they tell me, I don't know what I would do without it. So I am opposed to a leaf blower ban. I was talking to a neighbor the other day. In one hand he had a leaf blower, and the other hand he had a weed whacker. So now which one are you going to outlaw? He's illegal in this hand and not in the other. So I think it's very hard to legislate this kind of behavior of what you're going to use. So I definitely am opposed to a leaf blower ban.
On the issue of Wi-Fi, first, I think it should be noted that Sonic, I believe, is exiting the Wi-Fi business. And so that's not going to be a possible option for Sebastopol to get service through Sonic, overreaching and overarching system in our town. There are the Comcast hotspots. You know, 2 things that have come up for me during this campaign is really, really poignant stories that I've listened to at length from people who are affected by radio frequencies, by magnetic fields. These are people that are used to marginalizing, call them crazy. You know, what's wrong with them? This doesn't hurt me. They don't have a bandage on. They're not, you know, hopping around on crutches. How could they be hurt? But, you know, when I look at them and I talk to them, I talk to people with advanced degrees, people that look just like all of you sitting there tonight, and they tell me how it severely impacts their lives. You have to start paying attention. You know, we used to think DDT was fine. We used to think thalidomide was fine until all the kids start showing up with no arms. Where are we going to be in 15 or 20 years when we all have brain tumors? Maybe. We don't know. We don't know enough about it. I'm not a scientist. Ironically, I talked to a guy who's very technically connected, very knowledgeable. He said if you put an umbrella Wi-Fi system over the entire town, it will degrade everybody's individual Wi-Fi networks. He says it's the worst possible solution. So that's something to think about as well. Smart meters, hate them. Wish you didn't have to have them. Opt out for free, no charges. Leaf blowers. I live on a 1/4 acre covered with trees. I've never owned a leaf blower. My neighbor owns 3/4 of an acre lot. covered in trees, no leaf blowers. At Palm and Maine the other day, I watched a guy use a gas-powered lawn leaf blower to blow all of his debris down the street and around the corner into his neighbor's yard, and then he shut it off and went home. I think leaf blowers, in many cases, are an excuse for being lazy.
Well, anybody who knows me knows that I'm an extremely connected person. I have a Bluetooth headset, I have an iPhone, I have a laptop with 2 Wi-Fi connections and a cellular connection. I have 2 Wi-Fi routers at my house. I don't know what I would do if I lost connection to the internet. But I'm also a person who understands that the unique needs of individuals in our town are important to be respected. They're important to be cared for. If there are people who have Wi-Fi sensitivity, should we not have a space that is Wi-Fi free and created as a safe place for them? Yes, we should. We should be respectful of the people who have issues and needs in our town regarding Wi-Fi. As far as smart meters, I believe in land use rights. I believe in property owner rights. But more so, I believe in tenant and resident rights. I believe that the people who live there have rights. When we have these large apartment complexes, Burbank housing, senior housing, you have people sleeping on the other side of a wall with 50 Wi-Fi meters across it. Tell me about that person's rights and what they deserve and what protections they deserve. I don't very much like smart meters being able to look into your homes and invade your privacy. So do we want privacy rights or do we want property rights? And that's a question we have to continue to ask ourselves. As far as leaf blowers, we do many things to reduce our environmental impacts in our community. And leaf blowers have an environmental impact. Just like our stoves, our refrigerators, our washers, our dryers, we have ordinances and laws in place that have us move forward in a way to reduce the impact of those appliances. And finally, the Sebastopol City Council put together a subcommittee on this issue. And do you know what they came back with? Nothing. Zip. Not hours of usage, not days of usage, not neighbors talking to neighbors, nothing. And I think something needs to be done about that.
As far as a Wi-Fi free zone, I think the genie is out of the bottle. I think that there are so many people in a town of 7,500 people, 7,500 people that a large percentage of them probably have Wi-Fi in their own home. So I think creating a Wi-Fi free zone would be very challenging. That said, I too have talked to people as I've gone door to door and been impressed by their stories about their sensitivity to EMFs. And I believe them, and I think that the science is catching up. I think there's been new information available about it. And I think that, that these people really are quite sane and they're hurting and they need to be cared for and they need to have the best mitigation that they can. And fortunately, there are a whole series of products that are available to help them. And, hopefully that will help to a certain degree. But to create a Wi-Fi free zone, we could say that the city itself doesn't have Wi-Fi, but every person has Wi-Fi in their house. And so I think it would be too difficult to achieve. I don't want to say move to Forestville, but I'm saying there must be a place where there isn't Wi-Fi, but I think it covers pretty much the whole United States at this point. Smart meters, I don't like smart meters. I think that they do give off too strong an EMF, and people should be able to refuse them if they don't want them and not have to pay for that. I think that one of the goals of smart meters was to try and control the flow of energy across the entire web of energy. And maybe that's a good thing, but not with these smart meters. As far as leaf blowers go, I have never experienced this massive problem. Oh, my time is up. But I would not support a ban on leaf blowers. I think people should be conscious and be good neighbors.
We're going to try to touch on a lot of bases here. No more cards at this point, thank you. We have a number of issues that have been raised, and we'll try to consolidate them a little bit here by asking each of you, and again we'll begin with Kathleen at this end, to articulate your vision of Sebastopol 10 years from now. What changes would you most want to see, and particularly, what would you do in terms of perhaps attracting different kinds of businesses, developing resources that would engage and retain youth in the community, maybe even retaining the urban growth boundary, and of course, curtailing pot use. We had a lot of questions about that. So, marijuana use by young people. Big issue for the City Council, I'm sure.
I see Sebastopol in the future as a thriving, prosperous city. I see with healthy schools. I'm hoping that we can attract more families here today back into the city. Like I said before, our median age is almost 50. We need more young families. The demographics should reflect all age groups. That's what I'm hoping that we can do. I also want to see some diversity. If you have been to our local schools, you will see that we have a very diverse population in the schools. I spoke to a woman today who was saying, we are invisible. We're in the schools, but we don't see where they live. I want our Latino population, all populations, to be visible in the community, to be part of the community, to be on our boards and commissions, to run for city council. This is what I see in our future, is a more diverse population. For businesses, I'm talking with Mark Sell about the way we can add more products in this town. He's such a master marketer. He's done such a wonderful job. And I want to use his expertise. I've even talked to the man who used to own Carlson's department store. How could we attract a business like that here? We so need it to have these products that we are leaving town to buy. So in terms of businesses, I think the Barlow, too, is going to attract a lot of interested people into coming here. So I'm looking forward to the future. The one disappointment from our general plan, they predicted our population would be around 10,000 now. We're at 7,400. So we're still okay, but it would be nice to welcome in some people that can help our community prosper and grow, and just give us some, new ideas and some new businesses that can help us continue on. This is one.
I want to add one quick comment about the leaf blower issue. I was down to San Dimas Technology Development Center for the U.S. Forest Service in Los Angeles. We were emission testing a brand new chassis to see if it would meet the requirements. It was out in the rain. A Forest Service employee blew it off with a leaf blower and then brought it in the building so it wouldn't drip on the floor. But one of the head emissions engineers for the Ford Motor Company said, that leaf blower just put out more emissions than this vehicle will in its entire 20-year service life. So keep that in mind next time you fire up your leaf blower. 10 years from now, I see Sebastopol as a densely developed urban infill environment, multi-story mixed-use buildings, vibrant economically, people on the street, lights on in the upstairs windows at night because people live down there, people walk into the Rialto, people going out for a beer after the show, walking home to their house 2 blocks away, the car never left the driveway. It's like all the cool towns that have been developed in that manner for the last 200 years. That's what we need to get back to. That's where we need to go to. We need to go kind of back into the past to achieve our future. We can't be just building shopping centers in our downtown, chasing an almighty buck to get things done. I think, the question about pot smoking in high school, that's a smokescreen question, no pun intended. It's like, why don't we talk about teenage sexting, things like that, or the other non-related items here, it's silly. I think our town is definitely going to go in a direction where we are attractive to companies, attractive to retailers. We have a fairly affluent demographic in our town. We're at a major hub of transportation routes, and I think the future is really bright for Sebastopol. Thank you.
The future of Sebastopol. I see a town that has worked hard to develop our agriculture resources in our surrounding area. You know, I call our township that are not our voters, but wrapped around us, the halo of Sebastopol. They're the people who spend their dollars here, bring their dollars to us, volunteer here, stay active in our community, and help us be who we are, work here. I see us developing local business, developing production jobs that actually create careers and move us to a better place for our young people. I see reduced traffic. I see ways of mitigating our traffic issues. Better crosswalks, a pedestrian and bicycle-focused city that allows people to move at a human-paced lifestyle and talk to one another. And when you have people, residents, neighbors talking to neighbors, you don't have leaf blower arguments. You have neighbors telling neighbors what they want and what they're looking for. You have a better culture. You have a better community. I see dining out in front of restaurants, so when you walk by, you can see your friends and families and coworkers and actually continue to build the culture and community of our town. When it comes to alcohol, tobacco, or any drug use for our young people or for minors, I do not believe that is appropriate under any circumstance. Our town, our schools, our city needs to maintain education programs that helps our young people and our students understand how drugs and alcohol abuse can affect their lives in a negative way. It is not something we can stand for, and we must put resources towards that immediately to curb that issue. Thank you.
Well, my vision is that we're financially secure in 10 years. I certainly hope so, because the economy has to get better than it is right now. So we would have a mecca for the arts in our art center. Having moved to the Veterans Building, we have the ability to have theater productions there, as well as our downtown theater on Main Street. We do poetry readings. It doesn't all have to be visual arts. We can have the community come and create art there. So I think that we will become more of a mecca for the arts in the West County and in California. We're already sort of a food mecca for very healthy foods and production, permaculture, and so forth. I think that that'll only become more and more so. We'll see less and less lawns and more interesting habitat development within everyone's own yard. We'll see, I think, some innovation around solar and solar battery, solar storage types of innovation. I can see that that would be one thing that our community would very much be a pioneer in. And so we would see better infrastructure right now, as you've probably already received a utility bill and noticed that it's been increased, and that's because we have to replace all of our sewer and water pipes. So that'll be done, and we won't have to worry about that anymore, or any accidental spills into the Laguna. And lastly, we'll have enough money that we can put more emphasis into ridding the Laguna of Ludwigia and restoring as much of the habitat as possible. And that would be another mecca to come forward to see the beautiful Laguna de Santa Rosa. And I think my time is up, right? Yeah.
So I didn't mention leaf blower either, but I want everyone to get familiar with the noise ordinance and just be respectful of your time of use. And maybe the iHealth county-wide health campaign can take a look at the amount of calories that you use when you do what I do, which is sweep and rake. So when I see a vision 10 years from now, I see a thriving local economy, one where we develop community banks, time banks, one where our economy is developed from the things that we love that make us so special and unique, such as with the Cheetah Slow and all the wonderful organic healthy food businesses and restaurants. We build our economy that way from visitors and local residents. When it comes to taking a look at the marijuana issue, I'd like to see us produce economy from wellness care that includes doing research to prove how alternative medicine of many types of alternatives is more than useful, that it can actually reverse dangerous diseases. But the medicine that's right for kids is really, really clear. So I do recommend that doctors, federal government, all get involved in studying this deeper. We are so lucky to have so much concentrated culture per square mile here, with the arts and with the entertainment. And I know that we can build our economy even further based on that we don't have to choose between funding the cops or funding the Arts Center. We have enough for both. I also see that we have done what we needed with volunteers and seeking the grant money that we protect and preserve our treasure of natural resources of water and the watershed, so that this is a destination for people seeking out ecotourism. So I could go on and on, but I also want to include that we have come together with the CERT program on every block. Transition Sebastopol has expanded, and we all feel safe and secure knowing that we can handle whatever comes our way. And with the unity, we can thrive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're just about at the point where we'll do closing statements, and as we did at the outset, each candidate will get a couple of minutes to summarize their comments and perspectives. But very briefly, before we do that, I'd like to take a cue from one of the cards here and ask you each, beginning with you, John, to quickly identify one of your favorite movies. Not to go all over on you, but...
I think probably the movie that I've seen at least 30 times is Harold and Maude. It's embarrassing, but when I was discharged from the Air Force, I wanted to get home to California, but I waited 2 weeks extra in Florida because it was coming to the local.
I would have to say my favorite movie is The Never-Ending Story.
Well, I'm a big fan of classic film, and almost anything done in 1939 is high on my list, but Casablanca would have to be the top one.
Mine's a tie between What the Bleep Do We Know and The Yellow Submarine. All you need is love.
It's not a very well-known movie, but if you've seen Horrible Bosses, that's it.
Okay, now we're going to get serious again. And we will do the final round of closing statements. And Robert, I'll have you as the first one. We'll cycle our way around. So you're up with the closing statement.
Thank you all again for coming tonight. And I have to say I forgot to thank the Grange in my opening statement. So thank you to the Grange as well for hosting us here tonight.
I was going to say that too.
You know, I'm running for city council because I believe that it's time for us to have something new, for us to have something that's fresh, for us to have the diversity. You know, Kathleen even realizes that we need diversity in our town council. I'm the first Latino to be the chair of the Sebastopol Planning Commission. I'll be the first Latino elected to the Sebastopol City Council. I will be the youngest person elected to the Sebastopol City Council since Craig Litwin. And we all know how Craig Litwin did in our town, brought many progressive, new, healthy, healing proposals to our town. I've been endorsed by both environmental organizations, the Sonoma County Conservation Action and the Sierra Club. I've been endorsed by the Labor Council and the Coalition for a Better Sonoma County. I've been endorsed by the Sonoma County Democratic Party, Young Democrats, and Progressive Democrats. Yesterday, I was endorsed by the Sonoma County Green Party. I'm not just a person who's here to run and throw my ideas around, but I'm a person who's running for council to bring people together, to organize coalitions.